Hey everyone, and welcome back. Today we're going to be diving into something that I think we can all relate to, learning.
Oh, yeah.
Specifically, how to learn faster and more effectively.
Right.
Wouldn't that be amazing to sort of unlock that superpower? I know I would love to, and guess what? We might just have some clues from a guy who's known for, well, pushing the boundaries of what's possible, Elon Musk.
Yeah, you're right. Elon Musk is really a fascinating case study when it comes to learning. I mean, he's tackled everything from space exploration with SpaceX to revolutionizing the electric car industry with Tesla.
Yeah.
And what's so intriguing is that his success isn't just about, pure grit or stamina,
Right.
though those are definitely part of the equation.
Of course.
There's something more at play here, a unique approach to learning and problem solving that I think we can all learn from.
So what's the secret sauce? Is there some hidden mental hack that he's using?
It's not so much a secret hack as it is a mastery of mental models, and specifically one called first principles thinking. But before we jump into that, let's break down what we mean by mental models in general.
Okay.
Think of them as frameworks that help us understand the world around us. You probably use them all the time without even realizing it.
Okay, give me an example. I need a visual here.
Sure. Think about the concept of supply and demand in economics.
Okay.
When demand for a product goes up, but the supply stays the same, we typically see prices increase.
Right.
That's a classic mental model.
Yeah.
Or consider game theory, which helps us analyze strategic decision-making in competitive situations.
All right.
These are all frameworks that help us make sense of complex scenarios.
So we all have these mental models kind of floating around in our heads, shaping how we view things.
Absolutely. We accumulate them throughout our lives through, our experiences, our education, our interactions with the world. They become our go-to tools for understanding and navigating everything around us. But here's the thing. Relying too heavily on our familiar models can sometimes limit our ability to see things in new ways.
That makes sense. Kind of like getting stuck in a mental rut, right?
Yeah.
If you always approach problems with the same old toolkit, you might miss out on creative solutions.
Exactly. And I came across this great anecdote from biologist Robert Sapolsky that perfectly illustrates this point. He asked this really simple question. Why did the chicken cross the road?
Haha. Okay, I love this already. Who's he asking?
Well, he imagines posing this question to different experts, an evolutionary biologist, a kinesiologist, and a neuroscientist.
Okay.
And each expert, based on their specific mental model, comes up with a completely different explanation.
Wow.
The biologist might say, well, the chicken was seeking a mate, driven by instinct. The kinesiologist, focusing on movement, dives into the mechanics of the chicken's muscles and gait.
Interesting.
And the neuroscientists, well, they're all about those neural pathways and how the chicken's brain triggered the action.
Okay, so even a simple question like, why did the chicken cross the road, can have multiple answers depending on the lens you're using. It highlights how our existing knowledge shapes our understanding of the world. But how do we ensure that the knowledge we have is actually useful?
That's a great question, and it brings us to the concept of the utility of knowledge.
Utility.
Yeah. Historian Yuval Noah Harari, he put it really well when he said, the real test of knowledge is not truth, but utility. It's not just about knowing a bunch of facts.
Right.
It's about knowing things that are actually helpful, things that we can apply to solve problems and make better decisions.
So how does Elon Musk fit into all of this?
Yeah.
You mentioned first principles thinking earlier.
Exactly. First principles thinking is, it's a mental model that Musk uses to incredible effect. Think of it as a way of stripping away assumptions and getting down to the fundamental truths of a situation.
Okay, I'm all ears. Break it down for us.
Okay. Instead of blindly accepting, conventional wisdom or the way things have always been done, you actively question those assumptions.
Right.
You really try to understand the underlying principles that govern the problem that you're facing.
I see.
And a great example of this is Musk's approach to the cost of battery packs for electric vehicles.
Okay.
Back in the early days of Tesla, everyone believed that batteries were inherently expensive. It was just an accepted truth.
Right, but Musk didn't just take that for granted, did he?
Not at all. He applied first principles thinking to challenge that assumption.
Yeah.
He broke the problem down to its most basic components,
Yeah.
He asked, what are the raw materials that go into a battery, and how much do those materials actually cost if you just bought them on the open market?
Okay.
By deconstructing the problem in this way, he realized that the cost of batteries wasn't fixed at all.
Wow.
There was huge potential to make them cheaper.
So instead of accepting the prevailing narrative about battery costs, he dug deeper, went back to the fundamentals, and uncovered a solution that everyone else had missed.
Exactly.
That's pretty amazing. But how does this translate into learning faster? I'm still trying to connect those dots.
It's all about focusing on the essential building blocks of knowledge.
Right.
By stripping away unnecessary information and preconceived notions, you can get a much clearer and deeper understanding of any subject. It's like clearing out all the clutter in a room so you can actually see what's important.
Okay, I'm starting to see the light here. It's not just about cramming your brain with as much information as possible. It's about identifying those core principles that form the foundation of any subject. So how do we actually apply this in our own lives? It sounds a bit intimidating, if I'm being honest.
It might seem daunting at first, but it gets easier with practice.
Okay.
Start by identifying your existing assumptions about the topic you're trying to learn.
Okay.
What truths have you simply accepted without questioning?
So challenge those deeply ingrained beliefs that we often take for granted.
Precisely. Next, break down the subject into its most basic elements. Ask yourself, what are the fundamental truths at play here? What are the core concepts that I absolutely need to understand? It's like reverse engineering the whole thing.
I like that analogy. It's about understanding the structure, the underlying framework, not just memorizing a bunch of facts. But how does this actually change the way we learn?
When you build your understanding on a foundation of core principles, you create a much more powerful and adaptable framework for learning. It allows you to connect new information to existing knowledge, making it easier to retain and apply what you've learned. It's not just about learning faster, it's about learning better.
So it's about depth over breadth, quality over quantity. I'm really intrigued by this. How does it impact problem solving?
First principles thinking encourages a deeper, more nuanced understanding of any subject, which naturally leads to better problem solving and more creative solutions. Instead of just relying on surface-level knowledge or pre-existing solutions, you're equipped to tackle challenges from a more fundamental perspective. You're more likely to come up with innovative approaches that others might miss.
I can see how this could be a game changer in so many areas of life. Whether you're trying to learn a new language, master a complex skill, make a difficult decision, or even just understand a challenging concept, this approach seems incredibly valuable. So it's not just for rocket scientists and tech moguls like Elon Musk.
Not at all. This is a mental model that anyone can adopt and benefit from. It's about unlocking new levels of learning and creativity in our everyday lives.
Okay, this has been eye-opening. I have to admit, I'm feeling pretty inspired to tackle some new learning challenges now. So as we wrap up this deep dive into mental models and first principles thinking, I have a question for you, our listener. What's one area in your life where you could apply this first principles thinking? Maybe you're facing a challenge at work, a personal goal you're struggling to achieve, or just a topic you're eager to dive deeper into.
Yeah, take a moment and really think about it. What assumptions are you holding on to in that area? What are the fundamental truths that might be hidden beneath the surface? You might be surprised by the insights you uncover.
I think what I'm taking away from this is that first principles thinking isn't just about learning faster, it's about learning better, thinking more critically, and ultimately becoming a more effective problem solver.
Exactly. And the beauty of it is that it's a skill you can cultivate with practice. It's like exercising a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. You'll start to question assumptions automatically and look for those core principles in everything you encounter.
It's almost like training your brain to see the world in a new way, to constantly seek out those underlying truths.
That's a great way to put it. You start to peel back the layers of complexity and get to the heart of the matter.
This has been such a fascinating deep dive, and I have to say I'm feeling pretty energized to start applying first principles thinking in my own life. So to all our listeners out there, I encourage you to give it a try. You don't have to be Elon Musk to benefit from this approach.
Remember, the most important journeys are often the ones that take us deeper into our own understanding. So go out there, stay curious, and keep those brains firing.
Until next time, happy learning, everyone.